Welcome to this explainer. We usually think of numbers as just cold, hard tools, right? Just for counting grain or tallying up a spreadsheet. But they're actually so much more than that. They are literal mirrors of human civilization. Think about it. The highest number a culture can even imagine perfectly reveals the exact boundary of their known universe. So today, we're going to embark on a pretty wild documentary-style journey through human history. We're going to decode exactly how our concept of the ultimate number has evolved and how each civilization's math perfectly reflected their worldview. Okay, let's dive right into this. Just ask yourself, what is the absolute largest number you can possibly imagine right now? Is it a trillion? Trillion? Maybe just infinity? Well, long before we could even fathom billions or infinity or the massive data sets we have today, the absolute frontier of human imagination stopped at a shockingly small number. At the absolute dawn of humanity, the ultimate number wasn't a million. It was literally just one. For our earliest ancestors, the world was divided into two very simple buckets. There was me, which was one, and then there was everything else, which was simply many. And hey, this isn't just some wild archaeological guess. Back in 2004, cognitive scientist Peter Gordon actually documented the Piraha tribe deep in the Amazon. Their language literally only has words for one, two, and many. For them, anything beyond two just becomes an overwhelming, uncountable universe. It was the absolute edge of their conceptual map. Section 1. Two hands, the first universe. And this brings us to a really fascinating biological limit. Our physical bodies actually dictated this earliest boundary. Having two of something, one in each hand, was the absolute maximum a human could physically hold and control. So holding two things meant you practically possessed the entire universe. Let's step way back to 3200 BC, right to the cradle of civilization in ancient Sumer. Imagine looking at this ancient clay tablet. Carved into it is Dingir. It's this sharp, eight-pointed star cuneiform symbol. To the Sumerians, this single, solitary star visually represented the vast sky overhead or the presence of a single god. It was a very precise, singular entity etched right into the bedrock of humanity's first writing system. Now, what's really interesting here is how they handled scale. When the Sumerians needed to express the entire cosmos, like the supreme, all-encompassing everything, they didn't invent some complex new shape. No, they took that exact same singular star image and they just stamped it twice, side by side. Dingir, Dingir. By visually duplicating a single entity, it totally transformed the meaning. Two identical images side by side didn't just mean plural gods. The repetition of the symbols symbolized the supreme all-encompassing divinity, the absolute all. And we see this exact same brilliant visual logic popping up in ancient Egypt too. Take a look at the symbol for Ka, which represented the human soul and vitality. It's literally two arms raised identically upwards. Or look at He, the god of eternity. He's kneeling, raising both arms, and in each hand, he's holding identical repeating palm branches. To Egyptians, those branches represented the passing of years. Visually speaking, holding two identical objects in two hands sent a profound message. Repeating a symbol creates an uncountable eternity. It means everything. Section 2, the expansion of empires and numbers. So as humanity invented agriculture, started building these sprawling cities and mapping the stars, that old physical limit of our two hands completely shattered. Our ultimate number had to evolve at the exact same explosive rate as our growing societies. This brilliantly illustrates how different growing civilizations defined their new limits. Suddenly, we had to count vast silos of grain, measure newly conquered lands, manage armies of thousands of soldiers. The ultimate number wasn't just a biological limit anymore. It became entirely conceptual. It tied directly into their unique cultural philosophies, acting as a perfect mirror of their expanding worldviews. Let's look at ancient Greece. They were an incredibly practical, engineering-focused society, right? So for them, the absolute boundary of everyday counting was 10,000, which they called the myriad. In everyday Greek, myriad literally translated to countless. It was the absolute ceiling of their daily imagination. And this limitation actually bothered the brilliant mathematician Archimedes so much that he wrote an entire treatise called The Sand Reckoner, just to mathematically prove he could imagine a larger universe by calculating the grains of sand it would take to fill it. But while the Greeks saw 10,000 as this hard, practical limit, over in East Asia, it took on a deeply philosophical vibe. The character Wan, or man, initially represented all things in creation. When people cheered for the emperor's longevity, they wished him 10,000 years of life, symbolizing a reign of eternal, absolute completeness. Though, of course, as those empires consolidated and grew into massive dynasties, even 10,000 wasn't enough. They were eventually forced to invent completely new units for hundred millions and trillions. Meanwhile, totally isolated in the Americas, the Maya took a deeply biological path, developing a base 20 numerical system. Why 20? Well, using 10 fingers and 10 toes meant the number 20 represented one perfectly complete human being. Driven by this philosophy, and augmented by their absolutely genius, independent invention of the number 0, the Maya mapped out some of the most complex astronomical calendars the ancient world had ever seen. Section 3. Ancient India's Cosmic Imagination. Okay, prepare yourselves for this one, because we are about to look at literally the most staggering, mind-bending conceptual leap in the entire history of mathematics. And it didn't happen in Europe or the Americas. It occurred in ancient India, roughly between the 1st and 5th centuries AD. You see, ancient Indian scholars weren't just thinking about grains of sand or how long an emperor might live. They were driven by the profound theology of endless reincarnation. They believed the universe went through massive, repetitive cosmic cycles called kalpas. We're talking periods spanning billions of years, where the universe is created, destroyed, and reborn. To measure a reality that vastly infinite, ordinary numbers just collapsed. They needed a concept large enough to hold cosmic eternity. So they conceptualized Asankhyeya, a number found in major Buddhist texts like the Avatamsaka Sutra. And the result is this truly monumental number, 10 to the power of 140. Just think about that. A 1 followed by 140 zeros. This wasn't a number meant for counting taxes or inventory. It was engineered purely to express the unfathomable scale of cosmic eternity. To put that insane scale into perspective, let's look at modern physics. Scientists estimate the total number of atoms in our entire observable universe is roughly 10 to the power of 80. That's it. Yet, over 1,500 years ago, without any telescopes or supercomputers, the human mind conceived of Asankhyeya, a number astronomically larger than all the physical matter in existence. It is just a stunning testament to the sheer power of human abstract thought. Section 4. The Mirror of Civilization. So, as we pull all these ancient threads together, a really clear picture emerges. The numbers we use are absolutely not just cold, hard, objective math. They are the ultimate reflection of our societal advancement. Looking at this timeline, we can trace our philosophical evolution right alongside our math. We started at the absolute dawn of humanity, genuinely believing the whole world fit perfectly in our two hands. Then, 10,000 became the limit of sprawling empires. We leaped to 10 to the power of 140 in ancient India to map out the boundless cosmos. And today? Today we throw around concepts like the Googol, 10 to the power of 100, and mathematical infinity, perfectly mirroring our own boundless, data-driven quantum era. Which leaves us with one profound, lingering thought to walk away with today. Numbers have never stopped growing, simply because human curiosity has never stopped expanding. The ultimate number of today is literally just the starting point of tomorrow. So, as our understanding of quantum mechanics, artificial intelligence, and the multiverse continues to explode outward, what worldview will the next ultimate number hold? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep questioning the world around you, and I'll see you next time.